All right, welcome back to the channel, y'all. Welcome back to the channel. It has been so long since I decided to make a video. More like 2 weeks. Yeah, your boy's been, the Legion, the Emperor has been busy. Things have been always moving, always changing. But I wanted to make a quick video touching upon the Fallout TV show and just some of my thoughts and just some of the things that like I see people like, just talking about. And just first of all, I think we all owe Jonathan Nolan and the rest of the directors who made the show an apology. Don't get me wrong, as a hardcore Fallout fan, I was very like when there was announced in 2020 that Fallout was making a TV show. Keep in mind, we got this announcement way back in 2020. Then we just didn't hear anything about it for like 3 years. But then we got set. Then in early 2023, we got set leaks, and then news about the show really started to ramp up. And then all of a sudden, late 2023, we had the trailer. Then we had the second trailer, and then we had the show. So I do remember though, like us hardcore Fallout fans were hating, bro. We were hating, and we were just like, oh, well, until the first trailer. Then the first trailer really kind of had me like, I'm not gonna get excited because I know how video game adaptations usually go. But I'm not gonna be, I'm not gonna lie. Like they nailed the look of this show. This literally looks like you ripped one of the games out of the game and put it into a TV show. They nailed the art direction. I think they like when I first saw the trailer, I was like, yeah, they're really trying. Like they're actually trying. Like this isn't just some quick cash grab for Amazon. Like you can tell these guys actually played Fallout games and they were really excited to make a show. Like they were like, yeah, we and when I heard the director Jonathan Nolan talk about how his favorite game was Fallout 3, I will make it no secret. My favorite Fallout game is Fallout 3. I think Fallout 3 is the best game in the series. It has the right atmosphere. Um, the only thing I think Fallout 3 really lacks in is the writing department. Even when I replay Fallout 3 now, like don't get me wrong, the writing in Fallout 3, in my opinion, is better than Fallout 4's. But I will say this, like, yeah, New Vegas just has way better writing. But what New Vegas doesn't have is the atmosphere. Like, I'm sorry, and the Mojave just isn't. I like the Capital Wasteland better than the Mojave. I do think that the Mojave has more memorable locations. I mean, memorable in the sense of like, but okay, so like, here's the deal. A lot of the Mojave locations are just like war things, like NCR camps and Legion play post and shit. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of it really isn't like settlements. There's a couple settlements, and I do think Vegas as a whole is just so fun, like to play in. But like the city, and I like Freeside. But outside of that, I'm more of a Capital Wasteland guy. I like the desolate, dark feeling of it. I like how in at the time of Fallout 3, like the super mutants are still a problem because there wasn't like a Brotherhood of Steel or a Vault Dweller to come out of a vault and take care of the Master's army. You know what I'm saying? So I like the lore of the Capital Wasteland. I love the whole Project Purity stuff. Um, but outside of that, like yeah, but the writing really needs some work. Like I will not lie, like Bethesda's got to get that down in the next game, at least passable. Like we can't just go like we can't just have a main story that just kind of is like it exists. Like we can't have that. Like I'm not saying the main story has to be some work of art or like some like lame Sony game that's like, oh, it's basically a playable movie instead of a game. It's like, no, Sony games aren't no playable movies. There's a lot of these modern games aren't really that great. Like, yeah, you'll see everybody hype them up and be like, yeah, that's the best game ever, man. Yeah, and then nobody plays it again after a month because yeah, that's what happens to the best games ever, right? It's not like the actual best games ever. Um, if you ever notice, these so-called best games ever that all these modern games are never get talked about or played again after like maybe 2 weeks of their initial release. And it's kind of funny because I sit here and I go like, Dragon Age Origins, people are still playing that. Um, Skyrim, people are still playing that. Super Mario Bros, people are still playing that. How long have these games been out for? Fortnite, people are still playing that. Like, I'm just saying, a lot of these modern games are fucking trash, and I'm tired of people fucking sitting there saying, "No, they're not, bro. Bro. Look at how much it sold, bro." Or I really loved it, bro. Oh yeah, you loved it so much. Why are you not playing it? Oh, I already beat it. Oh, but you already beat that game you're playing right now. Yeah, but bro, it's nothing. It's called these games are not memorable. They're not that fucking fun. They're just basically cutscenes with some little bit of gameplay sprinkled in. At least that's the Sony side of it. Xbox, sure, we don't even know what's. I don't even know what's going on at Xbox nowadays. To be honest with you, I don't even know does Xbox even make games. I'm serious. Like I haven't even heard of anyone talking about any Xbox exclusives or anything like that. And I'm not even that guy that's like exclusives, they're exclusives. Like fuck exclusives. It's honestly, all I care about is good games. Anyway, that's a whole different topic. Let's go back to the TV show. Yeah, I just think we owe that all the casting members, the director, an apology because I can tell you this, like as a hardcore Fallout fan, especially when like the first trailer barely showed, like didn't even show the NCR. I was so mad. I was like, no, they're gonna do it. They're gonna just, just ranting about it. And then now all of a sudden, yeah, after watching the show and after like seeing people's discussions on it and stuff and seeing how they actually did a good job with it, I'm very happy. Now there is one thing I don't like, and that actually funny enough is still the NCR. Um I get it, like a lot of fans, about what people don't realize is about Fallout and about Elder Scrolls and a lot of these game series is like the Gen Z audience probably didn't start with this series playing New Vegas, didn't start like playing for us. They probably did not start playing Oblivion, or Dragon Age Origins, or like a lot of the young people of today probably started a lot of these series like once like the fifth installment of the game was already out. Like a lot of people from that are Fallout fans now started playing Fallout 4. And then if they really loved Fallout 4, maybe they went back and played Fallout 3 if they're not an elitist graphics man. The graphic whores, but that's how everybody is today. Everybody's a graphics whore, so it's like I can't stand to look at Fallout 3. Oh my god, I can't play Oblivion. Oh my god, I could never play these older 2000s games. Like they're so trash looking. Look how trash New Vegas looks. Like whatever. Anyway, but yeah, most people started with Fallout 4. So most people probably don't even fucking know what the NCR is. Like most of the casual fans. But I don't like how. And spoiler, I mean, obviously, though, I'm talking about the fucking show, so I shouldn't even have to say spoilers. Like you're fucking a retard if you think I have to tell you that. If you don't want to know anything about the show, just fucking watch it and don't fucking watch anything about it on YouTube. Like that's dumb. I don't get why people even make spoiler free discussion videos. Like nobody, like no, all right. I don't care. Like motherfuckers, if you want to watch a show, fucking watch it. Like I'm gonna spoil shit. I don't give a fuck. The NCR being now there is one. Okay, so there's a chalkboard where we're learning about where Lucy, the main character of the show, learns about the history of the NCR, and it says the fall of Shady Sands, and it says 2077. According to the lore, that would be at the same time of the first battle of Hoover Dam in Fallout New Vegas. But we know that the NCR capital was not destroyed but like 4 years before New Vegas took place. But so what I notice a lot of people aren't doing is it says the fall of Shady Sands, but then there's another arrow clearly indicating a little bit time after is when the bombing of Shady Sands happens. And that would actually, as long as it's 5 years after, because New Vegas takes place in 2281, I believe. Just say the bombing took place in 2281 after the events of New Vegas or 2282. Either way, with that arrow showing that there is a direct like moving forward of it says the fall of Shady Sands, and then there's an arrow that clearly states then you see the explosion of Shady Sands. So there's two ways you can interpret that. Either Shady Sands gets bombed in 2077 or something because we know that Shady Sands is not what it used to be. And we know a lot of NCR citizens started hating the whole Mojave campaign in the first place. So maybe Shady Sands was just a divided, more, just not as pristine as it was in Fallout 2, and then all of a sudden, maybe sometime a little bit of events after New Vegas, um, probably at the time of, I would say, 2283, maybe that's when Shady Sands got nuked. And I would keep Maximus, because if you don't know, Maximus, he's actually from Shady Sands, and he survived the destruction of Shady Sands as a kid. But the fact that he's only in his early 20s now shows that it probably only happened like 11 years ago. Like, it wasn't something that, like, oh, it was ancient history. Like, no, like, the bombing of Shady Sands happened literally, like, probably in the 2280s, because the show takes place in 2296. So, and that's the furthest thing in the timeline. That's at least 15 years after New Vegas. And even if the bombing happened only 11 years ago from 2296, it would still be 2 years after the events of New Vegas. But what a lot of people aren't, that's just how I've interpreted that. But I also see the argument where it is saying that it was bombed in 2277. But the only reason I don't think so is because how accurate these guys were to the lore. Now, there is some things that they're not accurate about, like, ghouls needing like feral this stuff to go, this like serum to not go feral. I mean, we know that ghouls actually go feral because of like social isolation and stuff and all that. That's what, like, because it's going feral is like a mind thing. At least that's what it's implied. But to be fair, we don't know everything there is to know about ghouls. I mean, the games actually do state that. Hell, most of the games, hell, even Interplay, like, okay, so here's what I'm gonna get into my real kind of like rant is the Interplay Bethesda, the Interplay Obsidian fanboys just constantly fucking just hating on anything that happens that's not New Vegas. I call them the New Vegas fanboys, but it's not even really that they're New Vegas fanboys. They're just like dick riders of Obsidian, which I love Obsidian, by the way. But God, and New Vegas is Fallout 3 is my favorite game. New Vegas is my second favorite game in the series. That piece of trash Fallout 4 casual dog shit can go right in the fucking bottom along with 76. Yeah, so just so you know, I'm no Bethesda shill. Anyway, I like Bethesda, but there are games that they make. Just because I like them does not mean I like everything that they fucking do. Like, no. And same thing with Obsidian. Like, I loved Obsidian's take on Fallout New Vegas, but a lot of the fucking people that are like New Vegas fanboys and fucking Obsidian dick riders, what they don't even realize is like, you guys realize like the original creators of Fallout like killed the series, right? Like that's like if you like, if you want to make a New Vegas fanboy's head explode, say something like that. Just be like, yeah, you sit here dick riding and hating on all the Bethesda games so much, but because you just don't like the fact that the games aren't made by the same original creators for whatever reason. You guys realize like they killed the series, right? Like they had two good games in Fallout 1 and 2, and then after that we got Fallout Tactics, which nobody liked, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, which nobody liked, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel 2, somehow that game got a sequel, which nobody liked. So that's three bad games like right in a row, and like you realize like Interplay went bankrupt and like literally couldn't even make Fallout 3 and had to give that to Bethesda to make Fallout 3. And Interplay was low-key so salty about it that they fucking like made sure Bethesda couldn't like do anything on the West Coast. So that's the whole reason we even got like an East Coast version of the games, which is good. Like, I'm tired of the games taking place in California all the damn time. Like that just gets old. And in my opinion, that's one thing Bethesda has done better than Obsidian and Interplay or whatever you want to call these original creators is, like, at least in Fall, as much as I don't care about Fallout 4, like I really don't. It's probably like one of my least favorite games in the entire series. Like, the only games that Fallout 4 is honestly better than is 76, Tactics, Brotherhood of Steel 2. Like, I know I just told you, like, those are the worst. That's like the worst of the worst. Like, so that's not saying much, but at least if Fallout 4 ain't that bad, I'll say that. It's like a C to a B tier game. It ain't that bad, but it ain't that awesome. But yeah, like, they literally killed the series. Like, legit. So let's not sit here and act like Obsidian and Interplay were like the best of all time and they never messed up and they always made Fallout so great. No, they literally killed the series. So like that's something also. But honestly, like also I just don't understand why so many people think that like, oh, Bethesda hates Fallout New Vegas. It's like, first of all, the only people that ever actually really be sitting there saying that New Vegas is better than Fallout 3, because a lot of people go like, oh, New Vegas, Bethesda just hates New Vegas because they instead of making it themselves, they outsourced it to Obsidian, and because they wanted to make Skyrim, which Skyrim is better than Fallout New Vegas. So there's that. Like I'm just saying, like, okay, because I'm not even trying to be like, oh, Bethesda's better than Obsidian, haha. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. It's more just like a lot of these New Vegas fanboys just cannot cope with the fact that like it's weird because like I am a New Vegas fanboy, but not like this. Like there's the type of people that you're seeing like saying, "Oh, the TV show is woke." What? Like I remember when people said Fallout's going to be woke all because there was a girl protagonist. Like do you remember that? Like this is why I say like a lot of us hardcore fans owe the series an apology because I didn't think it was going to be woke. I won't lie. Like I was like, there's nothing about this that screams woke. Like having a girl, but I think it's because we're so used to like anything that has girls in it has to be super woke now, because girl boss feminism, yeah, like you know what I mean. Like I think because of the way modern Hollywood has fucking treated like movies and games and all that shit, we always think everything has to become so woke. Like you know, we had the Barbie movie last year and all these other movies that are obviously, I guess, quote unquote, woke. And which I don't even like using that term because that's not even the original meaning behind woke. That was like more of like a conspiracy theorist thing. But anyway, I hate that they just fucking took that shit now. Like I used to say that all the time. I'm woke. Now these motherfuckers, bro, all these people, bro, they be stealing our shit. Like think about it. I used to say like, way back in the day, I used to say shit like you could take the red pill or the blue pill. Now, if you say red pill or blue pill, people think you're part of this fucking manosphere shit. And I'm like, bro, these motherfuckers are stealing my shit, bro. I was saying all this shit back in 2017, and I was talking about conspiracies. Like, all that shit was more about conspiracies and, like, not this manosphere thing, these motherfucking Andrew Tates and shit. Like, I tell you, man, these people have come in and, like, stole. I tell you, bro, they watched my old YouTube channel and they stole my shit, bro, because I had creative shit. Or maybe I was just ahead of the time. Like, I don't know, like saying this shit back in 2016, 2017. Maybe I was just ahead of the time and I knew what was coming. Anyway, like I knew what the current culture was going to be like in the 2020s. Like I remember that as a teenager. I constantly remember every day kind of like how like, damn, I was spot on with how everything was going to probably turn out. But anyway, no time to reminisce. Yeah, the New Vegas fanboys, you know, they started right from the very beginning, like hating on it because it was like, oh, girl protagonist, it's gotta be woke. And then the first trailer came out, nothing woke about it, pretty just standard Fallout shit. Oh, also we don't know the other lore inconsistencies of the show that I'll mention real quick is Shady Sands is not where it was, which is weird. But it is a TV show, so at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to sit here and expect, like, them to nail everything one for one. Especially since I don't even necessarily remember where Shady Sands exactly is, so... If I was making a show, would I try to get that as lore accurate as possible? Yes, but again, we gotta understand it's a video game adaptation to a show. The bar of lore consistency was already pretty bad, so the fact that they got as much right as they did is actually genuinely surprising, so... But I said, yeah, Shady Sands is not where it actually originally was. The Brotherhood, for whatever reason, don't call themselves Knights, Protectors, Elders, and all that kind of stuff. So they call themselves, like, something else. I can't remember exactly what they say. But it's not the original titles, which is kind of odd. And the Brotherhood of Steel also just... they're not... okay, so like it's not even explained if this is the West Coast Brotherhood of Steel or if this is some other like reinforcements or something. I mean, it is kind of hinted that this is just the West Coast Brotherhood of Steel, but it just really does mean like, how did they get so strong? Like they weren't this strong at the time of New Vegas, or at least we don't know that for sure. That is something I actually want to say is like there's nothing that actually states the Brotherhood of Steel is dead or something at the time of New Vegas. Like on the West Coast, it just says that they're in hiding. But who knows? Maybe while they were in hiding, they were rebuilding their strength. Maybe not in the Mojave, but maybe like 11 years after the events of New Vegas, the NCR got weaker and the Brotherhood just got a little stronger. Because it's not like I will say this, they did do it right. Like they didn't make the Brotherhood like this overwhelming force that everybody in the wasteland can't even defeat. It was just more like, oh, they are back. Like, yeah. Anyway, you bring this up though. I bring this up because outside of like a few lore inconsistencies, the show holds up to the lore so well. Probably honestly better than the Bethesda does. Like shit, we need these writers to be writing the games low key because Bethesda sometimes themselves and Obsidian themselves fucking fuck up the lore. So, and that's what I hate about this too is like, I was getting into that. So yeah, I was saying that Bethesda and the original creators couldn't even decide on what ghouls are actually like. We're always getting new things about ghouls all the time. So it doesn't really surprise me that they say, "Oh, ghouls need this serum to not go feral." Like, I don't know, maybe that is a thing. Maybe like pre-war ghouls need that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, but maybe it all depends how old the ghoul is too. Um, it also just kind of is probably just a lore inconsistency in my opinion. Like, I don't know. Maybe they'll explain it. Maybe they won't. It is, keep in mind, it was only 8 episodes, so they probably didn't get the chance to dive into all the topics that they wanted to dive into. Because my theory is, oh yeah, I think the higher ups, like the people who funded this show, probably thought, oh yeah, this is gonna suck. It's a video game adaptation, so we'll just give you 8 episodes. Do what you can with it. And then now that the show is actually a fucking success and it's actually fucking great, and people are saying, well, oh, we need season 2, we cannot wait for season 2. That's when I think you'll see like maybe like the standard 13, 12 episodes season, and they'll actually have a little bit more time to touch on these things that like we just kind of hear about, or like we're like, that's a lore inconsistency, or where's the rest of the NCR, all that kind of stuff. Keep in mind, it's like I said, like they literally only had 8 episodes to touch on everything, and they also had to build up characters, and they also had to get us familiar with the world that at least took like 5 episodes to do, as it normally does in any TV show. So 8 episodes, not a lot. And that's why I'm like, I think there's just a lot that they couldn't touch on, or that they wanted to. You can clearly tell they wanted to, but they couldn't, because also you also have to understand that Bethesda also told them that they can't do anything that would like mess with Fallout 5. So, because Fallout 5 is like, it's pretty obvious at this point that Fallout 5 is probably going to be on the West Coast. And so Bethesda's probably saying like, yeah, no, you can't, these certain factions, I don't want them in the show, because when Fallout 5 is announced, like we don't want, even though Fallout 5 is not going to come out for a decent amount of time, like we're talking at least like within like a 10-year span, like because Elder Scrolls 6 still has to come out and Starfield DLC still has to come out this year. So like, yeah, we're not probably getting Fallout 5 until like at least, I would say the earliest that you can expect Fallout 5 is 2031. Like unless I'm not saying you won't ever get another Fallout game before then. Like maybe we'll get something akin to like a New Vegas. Like I've been thinking like a Fallout Texas, call it Fallout Lone Star, something like that. Like I think that's already actually like a fan made game name already. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's trademarked or not, but yeah, I was gonna say like I don't know. I think that actually is like a mod fan made game name. I think it is. Even if it's not, boom, perfect name, right? It's for a Fallout game in Texas. Like make it like a New Vegas, where it's like it's probably built in the same engine as Fallout 76. So they don't have to really recreate a new engine from the ground up or anything, and then they just fucking kind of port over assets and just make it like a New Vegas, where it's canon to the series, but it's not like I guess like it doesn't take as long to develop as a new actual like Fallout 5. Like as New Vegas wasn't Fallout 4. Well, should have been honestly, but uh Fallout 4 should have just never probably happened in my opinion. Like it should have just never like and it's bad. I know I sound mean, guys. Like I'm sitting here just trouncing on Fallout 4 and but it's because again, people like me that are fans of like New Vegas and 3, it's always funny because like I don't get where all this like these New Vegas Obsidian elitist fanboys just like hate on all of the Bethesda games so much. And honestly, I think it just comes out of a place of insecurity. I think they're just mad that like again, like the original creators literally killed the series. They made so many bad games and so many bad decisions with the fucking IP that they literally fucking went bankrupt. Okay, like come on, guys. Like, let's not act like the original creators didn't fuck shit up too. So when everybody goes, oh, well, Bethesda made Fallout 76 or Fallout 4, I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? Interplay and fucking Obsidian, your fucking dick writers that you ride all the time did. Fallout Tactics, Fallout Brothers Steel, Fallout Brothers Steel 2. Yeah, yeah. And oh, remember, we didn't even get chance to have Fallout Van Buren because they fucked that up too. So, like, yeah, you know what your guys did? Like, you know, and Bethesda's not my guys, but, like, that's what I guess that's how I have to put it because when you say Fallout 3 is your favorite game, everybody just assumes that you like all the Bethesda games to just hate all of the classic Fallout games and New Vegas. And it's like, no. If you want my true ranking on the Fallout series, here you go. Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 1, Fallout 2, Fallout 4. And we're not even going to talk about the spinoffs. Or, yeah. And then, yeah, 76 is also a spinoff. What? Is 76 canon? I don't know. Either way. I guess all the games are technically canon in their own certain way. Like certain aspects of all the games are definitely canon. Like mentions of a Brotherhood of Steel unit being out in the Midwest. That's clearly an allude to Tactics. So clearly, you know, all the games are canon in some sort of way. But maybe the main stories of those spin-off games aren't canon. But like maybe certain elements of them are canon. But yeah, either way. Also, I see a lot of people complaining that they go like, "Oh, well, how could they say Vault-Tec dropped the bombs? That's a lower retcon." It's like, no, it's not. We never got like this is up until now. Finally, the TV show just kind of confirms it, but we've never had an answer on who dropped the bombs. I mean, I always thought it was Vault-Tec because Vault-Tec is just evil, and I was like, it really would make sense. Like, think about it, Vault-Tec. They built all these vaults. They need something to happen. Maybe they don't necessarily want the entire end of the world, but they need at least some sort of nuclear catastrophe to at least scare people into getting into the vaults. Because think about it, like most people knew the Great War was coming, but were still pushing on with their daily lives. You know, as most people would in a real world setting. Like people think that, oh, that's kind of funny in Fallout, but it's like that's funny because it's what would really happen in real life. Like most people, for instance, like most people know, especially with the attack on like Iran's about to do an attack on Israel, and the U.S. is like, nah, I know you guys aren't. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like most people are walking unaware of like what's truly happening in the world right now. That we're basically in World War III. Like where Ukraine is about to fall, and NATO either has to stand on what they say and go in there, or let Ukraine fall like we should have just done 2 years ago, because fuck Ukraine, there's a bunch of Nazis and whatever. That's totally different topic. Anyway, but I actually, no, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm so glad Ukraine's finally fucking like getting destroyed, because first of all, fuck Nazis. Bunch of Nazis, they can all fucking like kill all their children, slaughter them all, fuck them, don't care. I shouldn't say that because obviously not everybody is a Nazi in Ukraine, but the fact that they had such a huge Nazi presence and that's just never brought up in the media, that just shows you honestly, if Ukraine was I'm not even gonna lie, if Ukraine was a bunch of niggas and they were Nazis, oh, that'd be talked about all the time. If like say this was Africa, it would be like, oh my God, them African Nazis. You know what? Russia's doing a good thing. But honestly, because most of the people of Ukraine are particularly white colored, it's like, oh well, we can just kind of skim over that. It's like, nah, man, fuck that shit. Like if this was a bunch of Mexicans, this was a bunch of like, because people don't even ever talk about how like Ukraine is so full of like Nazi fucking, like people don't even realize like the Ukrainian citizens love the Nazis more than they love like the fucking allies. So, or they love they love more. Yeah. So anyway, that's just. it's a small thing, but people really don't understand it. But that is why I do like the idea now, because I remember back in 2021 when this whole like Ukraine Russia thing even started, there was
Dude, so like
oops